All right, we're so back. We got another episode of the Hunger Games podcast, and this is our first episode, I believe, talking about a series or a show instead of a movie. Let's go. We're so back. Last week, I decided to binge the shit out of Beef Season 2. Beef Season 2 on Netflix, which you can stream now because I can, so you can. And I was in a Lyft tonight, going to a restaurant with my family, and we had this driver, and she was talking about some like really crazy shit that had nothing to do with shows or movies. And then all of a sudden, she started talking about Beef Season 2, and she asked me what I thought about it, and I decided to tell her what I thought about it. So I'll tell you what I think about it. I think Beef Season 2 is better than Beef Season 1, and listen to the rest of this episode so I can justify that. But yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb, which is kind of against the grain because a lot of the critics and the early drop in audience from Season 1 reporting is saying Beef Season 1 was much better than Season 2. And I'm going to call bullshit on that. I think Beef Season 2 is legit. And I think Beef Season 2 is legit because it taps into certain veins of storytelling that like we haven't really seen or explored. So when people start talking to you or asking you like Beef Season 2, is this good? Is this bad? I think it's brilliant. But I think you need to like give it 2 or 3 episodes before you realize like what they're diving into. It's a very quick burn. I didn't realize until after I watched Season 1 till after I watched Season 2, I went back and looked in a little bit into Season 1. Season 1 is about like this road rage stuff, and Ali Wong is amazing, and Steven Yeun is amazing, and the awards that it won were like valid awards and like very well warranted. But it was like 10 episodes, felt really long, like kind of got like trippy in that last episode with like the Ravens and I don't know, like just weird shit. And like Season 2's got some weird shit too, which I'll get into. But I felt like the Season 2 plot line was just a lot more relatable. And maybe it's a me thing, like maybe being 38 years old and single and having had a long relationship, maybe like the beef in Season 2 was more relevant to me than the beef in Season 1. I just felt like the beef in Season 1 with the road rage and all that was a little over the top, a little like too ridiculous. I live in Los Angeles. Like I've experienced road rage. I've had people cut me off and slam their brakes on the freeway and like flip me the finger and like basically try to kill me without trying to kill me. Like I've experienced road rage. I get it. I've seen it. It's rough out there. But like the heightened level of Beef Season 1, like where it went to and like all the stuff that happened didn't feel as real as Season 2. Now, Season 2 has a lot of moments that also don't feel real. I mean, it's a television show or a streaming show on Netflix, but like the themes felt more rooted in reality. So like big props to the creator, Lee Sung-jin. He came up with some crazy shit. And so where do I want to start with this? Like the cast thrives. Maybe I'm a little biased. I think Oscar Isaac and Carey Mulligan are amazing on screen together. I forgot, but then reminded myself that they were in a movie, I believe in 2013, called Inside Llewyn Davis. Is Inside Llewyn Davis a great movie? I don't think so, but it has really good critics reviews. So I mean, maybe if you're into like a folky music film, check that out. Inside Llewyn Davis with Oscar Isaac and Carey Mulligan. So the cast in Beef Season 2, Oscar Isaac, Carey Mulligan, Charles Melton, Kaylee Spaney. I'll get into the other cast in a little bit because there's like a couple surprises to me that weren't really like billed as the main cast, but they really are, and they move the story really well. But like I need to talk about Oscar Isaac and Carey Mulligan for a second. So they were in a movie called Drive that I love, and it's a Ryan Gosling movie, and I love this movie. I watch this movie like once every 2 to 3 years. I watched it recently, and my neighbor thought I was playing video games because it was so loud and it was so good. And like side note tangent, Drive, amazing movie. I will do an episode at some point on Drive because it's just phenomenal. And if you haven't heard of or seen Drive, like shame on you. But no, I'll guide you on that one as well. Like Drive, amazing. Oscar Isaac and Carey Mulligan actually played like a couple who had a kid together in that, and now they're a couple in this. So like I've seen them on screen like playing like a couple similar roles that were kind of fighting or like growing apart sort of. in Drive, which is it's 2026 now. Drive, I think, was 2011, like 15-year-old movie. Great movie. Maybe it was 2010. I think it was 2011. Great movie. Charles Melton and Kaylee Spaney. Believe Charles Melton's in Riverdale and others. Um, he is part Korean in real life. Really good looking dude. Really played the role really well. Played the role of kind of like idiot fiance for a little bit really well. I believe Charles Melton was also in this movie I saw last year that I loved, that I'll also eventually do an episode on, called Warfare. Amazing movie. Amazing. And Kaylee Spaney, I saw her, I think, first in Alien Romulus. And again, I feel like I'm just like name dropping like heavy hitters here. Like Alien Romulus, amazing movie in the franchise, amazing movie in the sci-fi horror alien lore. Like just killed it, and she killed it. And I showed somebody like a picture of her, like an image from Alien Romulus of her after this. Somebody had already seen her in Beef season 2, and I was trying to show like her range and like what she can play, and he was like, "Oh my god, yeah, like wow, that's her." Amazing. So the cast, amazing, and proud of the cast, and like they were all executive producers, EPs on the season, and I think that like really played into what was going on here. So the Beef is really like the Gen Z young love versus like the older generation's perspective on love, right? Like, so there's a scene early on where Carey Mulligan and Oscar Isaac's character, they're married, they're fighting, and the other couple, Charles Melton and Kaylee Spaney's characters, uh, they observe the fight, and they see it through the window of their house, basically, and um, they're kind of like shook by it, right? But then they also film it, so they end up using it as like blackmail. Cool, I get it. Like it's got like a young like generational trendy thing. Like we got the video on our phone, and it's like backed up to the cloud, and there's like this whole like blackmail, espionage, like sort of like we're fucking with you, you're fucking with the world sort of plot line. Like we're spying on you and you don't know it, but you do know it because we're calling you out on it. Like pretty interesting aspect. And there's this one part that like really really stood out to me, and I was talking to my Lyft driver about it today because Lyft drivers in Los Angeles love it. Um, and I said, "Do you remember that scene? There's a scene where the younger woman who's in a relationship where Kaylee Spaney's engaged to Charles Melton's character, and she's talking to Carey Mulligan, who's the older married wife character. In it, it's Lindsay and Ashley, I believe their character names are, and Ashley the younger talks to Lindsay, and she gets asked like how long she's been in her relationship. And she says, "Oh yeah," like she's talking about all this stuff, like, "Oh, we're gonna eventually have kids and get married and like live together forever, and everything's gonna be like so happy." And Carey Mulligan goes, "Oh well, how long have you been together?" And she responds, "Oh, well, it's been about like a little over like 1.5 years." And she kind of like, I'm paraphrasing all this, but she kind of like responds to her and goes, "Oh, that's cute. Like, good luck." It's like the deadpan, like you don't know what you're dealing with as far as a long relationship. The characters like Carey Mulligan and Lindsay and Josh, I think the characters' names are like in a much longer like committed married relationship and like have much more issues. And like anybody that's watching this knows, like the longer you're together with somebody, the bigger chance you have of having tension or fights or whatever. And it's kind of just something that becomes normal. And it really gives like a perspective on what love in a committed relationship really is. Like whether it's young love or experienced love or longer love or whatever. And I found that to be like a standout scene, moment, dark humor, whatever you want to call it. So I was talking about the cast, and then like there was more to the cast. So the show has this Korean aspect. Like not only is Charles Melton part Korean in real life, but his character also plays that in the season. And so like I got into it, and the main actor from Parasite, Song Kang-ho, is in this, and I love him. Like every time I see him, I smile. I'm like, oh my god, it's him. He is great. And then Yoon Yo Jung from Minari, who was an Oscar winner, also plays a big role. She's like the chairwoman, is what they call her in this. And like there are two characters, but especially her character, like binds the whole season and storyline together. There's like a big twist, I think, at the end of episode 2. And I'm telling you, if you're going to watch Beef season 2, like at least push through 2 episodes so you can see what's going on. And I believe it's at the end of episode 2 where there's this big plot twist that gets these 2 actors, characters really involved. Pay attention to it because like it changes the story. The beef becomes like beefier in a sense. So like there's just a lot of beef going on and like a lot of puppeteering and a lot of stuff going on with the characters, and it's wild and it's nuts and it's fun in like a dark, twisted, nuts, fun, like what the hell are we watching sort of way. And so Oscar Isaac's character is Josh, and he's the GM of this swanky like country club in Montecito, which is, outside of Santa Barbara, and it's got this California based plot, and there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on there. And like one of the actors that's in it, that's a side actor, is William Fincher, and he is like a side role in a lot of movies. Like he plays like the bank manager at the beginning of Dark Knight. Like he's been in a lot of stuff, and he is awesome. He's been in like Armageddon, Crash, Dark Knight. Like you'd recognize him. Fichtner, William Fichtner. Butcher his name the first time, but yes, he is great. I love him. 69-year-old actor. You would almost guaranteed recognize him and be like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Look him up. He's like kind of a side role in this, who's one of the like wealthy people at the club. And he's like one of the few wealthy people at the club that like doesn't like play themselves. That's another one of many things I loved about the season. There's these like celebrity cameos of like people at the club, and like Benny Blanco is in it, and Michael Phelps is in it, and there's a scene where like Suni Lee just comes up and like she's in it, and Charles Melton's character. This is great. This is some like Gen Z commentary. Charles Melton's character fakes that he's a physical therapist and like gets hired by the club because of his connection to his fiance and all the blackmail that's going on with the fight video. And he's like playing this role of like, oh yeah, I'm just a physical therapist, don't mind me. And like Suni Lee comes in, and Oscar Isaac's Josh is trying to sell Suni Lee on like doing physical therapy at the club, and Charles Melton goes, well, maybe I can help you. Like, what seems to be bothering you? And she's like, my QL and Soros hurt when I do this, and she just like like a light gymnastics move, like a slow handspring or something, and like he's just so confused. And it's amazing commentary on Gen Z, because like there's a lot of Gen Z that have spoken out publicly that they don't want to work, and there's a lot of Gen Z that think like, well, you don't need real degrees or certification to do jobs. And like I found that Charles Melton's character getting into physical therapy with like a fake certification was wild. Now, like, here's one thing that I think is outstanding compared to season 1 is the pacing of season 2, and the episode length is really well done. It makes the story very watchable, very bingeable, but also very like paced out, if you will. Season 1 was 10 episodes. Season 2 is 8 episodes. And there's at least 1, if not 2 episodes under 40 minutes in season 2. And I think that makes it to like get you to the story arc a little better. So I was talking to a friend about this earlier this week. I think there's a huge, huge fucking sweet spot when it comes to the series structure now. So like when I was growing up, by the way, episodes per season were like 23, 25. They were on television. They were like 44 minutes plus commercials. Like, we're done with that. Like, that's gone. Unfortunately or fortunately, however you see it, that's gone. We're done with that shit. And so now you've got like the Netflix, the Amazon, like all the streamers, like what are they going to do? So what I don't like is, and I think Beef season 1 was closer to this, but I don't remember offhand. But what I don't like in general is like, if you're going to give me 10 episodes of a season and each episode is roughly an hour, that's 10 hours of content, right? So if a movie is roughly 2 hours, you're telling me I need to watch 5 movies to get through one season? To like make it a movie or pare it down a little bit. Like, I don't want 10 hours of stuff. Like, I'm over that. So this is where Beef season 2 again thrives over season 1, is like, you're giving me 8 episodes of content, but it's not totaling 8 hours. It's probably closer to a total of like 6.5 hours of runtime. I like that 6.5 hour sweet spot. There's a show that I'm going to continue to refer to, and maybe I'll do an episode on it, called Slow Horses on Apple. Love it. It's amazing. Gary Oldman, incredible. And they do 6 episode seasons. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because by the time you get to the end of the second or third episode, you're so deep into the story and possibly like the top of the story arc and knowing where it's going that like you feel connected and almost obligated to watch the other 3 or 4 episodes. It's brilliant. What are we doing with 10 hours of a season? Not sure, but that's another place where season 2 of Beef thrives. There's a moment that I'm not going to like give too much context to, but Kaylee Spaney's character, I think it's Ashley, could be totally wrong on that. Not looking at my notes. She wants to get back at the couple, Oscar Isaac and Carey Mulligan, and she like goes into their house and does a bunch of shit and like breaks in, does like some weird stuff, and has like a bloody hand and like sticks it in their giant like orange juice carafe, and like it's kind of brilliant because like a lot of articles have come out over the last 5, 10, 20 years about how like certain brands of orange juice are like kind of gross and like they all taste the same with like some artificial flavoring, and like that's probably not what this was. It was probably like fresh thing orange juice. Who knows? Like it's just a thing in a fridge. Who knows what it was really? But like puts it in there, like it kind of mixes in, the blood kind of like mixes in, you can't tell what it is, it sits in there cold, whatever, and then like eventually Oscar Isaac's character like drinks out of it, and eventually you're just like ugh. And there's this like to get back at her once she finds out about it, Carey Mulligan's character, like probably in like the last episode of the season, does this ridiculous shit where she starts like wiping like a paper towel or toilet paper over like the rim of like a dirty toilet seat on an airplane, and then like rubs it around like the rim of like the cup for Kaylee Spaney's character to like then drink from. And like Carey Mulligan does such a good job selling it where she like gags so much and makes it like feel so gross when she's doing it that you're like, oh my God, this must be so gross. I mean, it is gross. The visual is gross. The toilet's gross. Like they nail that. And it is fucking gross. So some really like fun, gross moments that don't have to be like totally out of reality. Like things could happen, I guess. Major spoiler alert, by the way. Like I'm 17 minutes into this shit, and probably should have said this earlier. Major spoiler alert. There is a very cute dachshund dog that gets killed by a coyote, and it's very unsettling and it's very tough to watch. If you cannot deal with that, do not watch Beef season 2. I can deal with that, but I had to kind of like cheat it a little bit because they hinted it, and then I looked it up, and I'm like, shit, they killed a dog, and then I get to the tough, right? Like, they kill the dog. Just know that going into it. There's a dog that's gets killed. I don't like that stuff. It's not easy. Probably like hardest thing to watch of the season, to be honest with you. Like, I'm more okay with these like fictional human characters doing terrible shit to each other and bad things happening to them than I am with the dog. Like, really puts into perspective like how much humans can love animals, especially for me. And like in a story where like all these other humans feel so cruel, like you got this cute, like sweet, innocent dog, and like it dies, and it's awful, and I wasn't thrilled about that. But just letting you know, if you can't deal with a dog dying, maybe don't watch Beef season 2. But I can deal with it, so I watched it, and we move on. There's a great scene, like a really great scene, where Oscar Isaac's character does a bufo trip, and Charles Melton like tells him like he'll do it with him and like guide him and all this stuff, and he like totally does not. And like he's seeing like Oscar Isaac's like tripping out, it's like seeing all these things, and like then they do this great job of like cutting to like him in reality because you think like it's what's going on and what he's seeing, and he's just like kind of like convulsing on the floor in front of Charles Melton. It's so ridiculous, but it's so good. And like afterwards, Charles Melton's like, "Yeah, I think I did it wrong, man. Like I think I gave you like too much, like too high of a dosage. Like sorry about that, bro." So good. And like Oscar Isaac's character, Josh, coming out of it is just like changed man, like so like chilled out, bro. Oh, I just saw like everything's fine, like it's gonna be all good. It's so good. Um, you know, the show does a really good job this season of pushing the like hard to watch life moments. There's a lot of couples like violently arguing. There's the topic of divorce. There's you know, Kaylee Spain's character like has an issue like losing an ovary. Um, you know, there's like there's cheating. There's like a whole lot of other things going on. Love, regret, blackmail, like I was talking about. It packs like a lot of punches with like these what seem to be like really fun characters, and like it kind of hurts. There's also like the concept of IVF with the whole ovary medical issue, and like with younger couples and pushing that. And like there's a really crazy scene where Charles Melton ejaculates in a cup and like puts hand sanitizer in the sample because he doesn't want to have the kid at that moment, and supposedly still is able to have a healthy embryo. It's all kind of wild. Um, so there's a hospital episode, which I think is one of the short episodes. And the hospital episode I really loved because there's like a couple like really cringe scenes where I was like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not watching this with like a girlfriend or a spouse because like this would be really uncomfortable. And Charles Melton does some like stupid shit. And there's a scene where like uh, his fiance wants a red Gatorade and he goes to the machine and it's like all yellow Gatorades and one red Gatorade. And there's this like crazy lady behind him telling him that like she just wants the red Gatorade. And he's like, well, my fiance wants the red Gatorade. And like, I need to give her the red Gatorade. And then like, eventually he makes the wrong decision and gives the red Gatorade to like this complete stranger and lies to his fiance and tells her like all that was left was like the yellow Gatorade. And she's like, oh, well, whatever, I'll take it. And it's just like, it's so cringe because it's like, well, you had it in your hands, like the opportunity to do the right thing for your fiance, and you decided not to. Like, that's why it was so cringe. It's like what is he doing? And he does something similar but different in the same episode. He's waiting and waiting to get his fiance checked up in the ER. She's like in really bad shape, and she's telling him she's fine, and he wants her to get checked up. And he's waiting at the check-in counter. He's almost next to go in, and this like very injured person, I think in a wheelchair, comes in, and he kind of like backs up like stupidly and goes like, "Oh, do you want to go in front of me?" Like giving the space up, and it's like, dude, what do you do? Like, that's your fiance. Like, she wants to like have a life and a kid with you and all this stuff. Like, what the hell are you doing? And he does it, and it's just like, oh my God, dude, like, really? Like, you can't even like in silence or in private or like out of her view or whatever, just be like, I'm going to prioritize her. Nope, I'm not. There's this whole other like interesting theme. There's this character Eunice where Charles Melton's character like thinks he's falling in love with somebody else. And this is where like part of the cheating aspect comes in the season. And like towards the end, like really at the end of the finale, he tells his fiance that he doesn't want to be with her anymore, and finally tells Eunice that he told Ashley off and that he wants to be with Eunice and he loves her. And then Eunice kind of goes like, I love you too on the phone. And I don't think you like hear from or see Eunice again, like for the rest. I mean, there's probably only like 10 minutes left in the whole season at that point, but like, I don't think you hear from or see Eunice again the rest of the show. And it's just like a very weird, like, I kind of get it. Like there's this interesting theme there of like, he wanted to like see or feel that he could be loved by somebody else in case like there was a better type of love out there for him because he was only in this relationship so long, and he finally realized like, you know, maybe this person isn't the right person for me, my fiance. But it's just kind of weird because like it kind of just dropped off, and you're like, what was that? So I want to get into this interview I watched. I was talking to a friend about this earlier today, and I thought this was great. And part of why I want to like wait on some of these episodes is so I can get some like context from friends and like some social media context, and like there's some really good stuff like I can add by not rushing some of these episodes out. So I'm watching a clip of the creator of the show talking to Ronnie Chang, I believe, and they're doing like an interview segment on what looked like the Daily Show. I don't know. I don't know if Ronnie Chang has a show. Clearly, I'm out of touch. Talk about shows and movies. I have no idea what every show is about, but I think it was Daily Show. Could be wrong. I had the similar setup, and they're talking about this season, right? Like we're talking about season 2 and how it was so good. And I guess like after winning all those Emmys for like anthology limited series, the creator of the show was talking about how he had difficulty pitching to Netflix. And like at first I was like, that's ridiculous. Like how like he won all these awards, but then you realize like what time we're living in and like what era we're living in with like the streamers and the studios, and everybody's just like so hesitant to greenlight shit that like you can't even take like a great creator award-winning concept from Beef season 1 and just say like, actually this guy knows what he's doing. Like you're gonna put him through like all these trials to like figure it out. So it's great. Then he's talking in this interview about how he landed on Beef season 2, and he's like he's dancing around this to be really respectful. And he talks about how he heard an argument in his neighborhood, and it was a couple, and he like overheard it, and he's like, I don't want to say any names. I'm not saying they still live there. I'm not saying any names. So funny about it. His delivery in this interview was like almost like its own comedy sketch. And he's like, yeah, they had this argument. And then I talked to like my friends that like my younger friends about it, like my Gen Z friends about it. And they had one reaction, which was like, oh my God, are they okay? Did like you call the police? Did somebody call the police? Like, is everything all right? And he's like, and then I told my older friends, like millennials and older, like closer to my age, about what happened. And they were like, oh yeah, you know, stuff happens. Like couples fight all the time. It's normal. Like, so he got this whole basis of this 8-episode season from like reality. And like that's what I was talking about at the beginning where I said season 2 was better than season 1 to me, because this story and like the basis from it is like much more rooted in reality than like the over the top road rage shit from season 1. Again, season 1 was great. Like I don't think there was anything wrong with season 1. I think season 1 was like a nearly flawless season, and I think that gives a lot more context to the praise I'm giving to season 2 more than anything, cuz like season 2 was kind of like really great. Like even greater than season 1. And so he goes on in this interview to talk about the argument and whatever, and Ronnie Chang's like I got to make sure I don't butcher this. Ronnie Chang's like, well, you know, like what happened, can you tell me like what race the couple was? And the creator looks at him and pauses for a minute, and he goes, I cannot do that, but what I can tell you is the police did not come. And what's crazy about that is him saying the police did not come was another racial commentary on society and systemic racism, and that doesn't apply to all police or all systems or whatever. It was just, you know, they were on a comedy talk show, and the creator does comedy and dark comedy, and Ronnie Chang is a comedian, and so they were just trying to make the point that in that situation, without naming names or saying direct answers to these questions about the race of the couple, that you can assume the race of the couple. And so that might have had something to do with how the season was portrayed with the characters and their races, and how race might have played into it as well. It's hard to tell, but it was a very interesting comment. And I thought it was a very bold comment because, again, it was poking a lot at the system. And, you know, it's a tricky one to really look too deep into, because again, they're on a comedy show. But getting back to the heart of this, Beef season 2 is much better than season 1. Not like season 1 isn't good, but Beef season 2 on Netflix better than season 1. This has been The Unger Games. I'm Drew Unger. Please feel free to email me at theungergamespod@gmail.com or email the show, me. And we're so back. Thanks for listening.